Hello, this is Pigsley doing another video. Let's get right around here. Nice. Yeah, before I wanted to talk about was, I guess, enchantment and detachment. And that vehicles can have kind of souls of entities that attach themselves to vehicles. In the same way, if you've got a doll, I think it's also if people invest themselves energy, not just their emotions, into things. So if they love their car, and something becomes a part of that, I guess it feeds off that energy. Or it's a part of you anyway, this entity, so it extends into the vehicle. I had, with my old car, in the film, in the actual glass, it was reflected. There was some sort of entity, looked like it was over my shoulders. It was a bit odd. It definitely wasn't my shadow. Let's have a look. Nothing coming. Good. So, definitely, and where would an entity attach itself to? It's probably within the engine. There are dark places in the car. There's going to be places where light doesn't get to, and these are more suitable for energies to sort of hold and manifest themselves. It may be that particular entities can feed off certain, like the energy released from the car, or there's a kind of death energy associated with petrol, because it's made from dead aquatic life. Even though probably now they can make a synthetic fuel and they probably mix them together. But what they want to do is maintain, this is sort of the Illuminati, or whoever else is involved in these sort of subgroups. They'll probably change their name for that, because it's more about business now. Rule by business. The world is. And there was something else as well. There was the Remembrance Day. There was some stuff on TV, and I noticed there was this flag that had up high, and they had this distant shot, looked like an eye. It had a red eye above this thing, and they were doing this band and the pillars. It wasn't lost to me. It looked Freemasonic, and I think it's the entity is like Marduk or Satan or whatever it is, because it's got a red eye. So there's a kind of celebration of war. That's what it is there. You know, they're commemorating the fallen. They're kind of pushing this ideology that we've saved the world from this evil or whatever. Yet, by doing it, we had to kill people. So it's kind of all, and people had to die for this. And these great sacrifices they give and stuff. You know, it's all a bit there. As someone once said, there's no glory in war. I mean, once you've been in the war zone and seen people get blown up, you can't walk away and say, I feel like a hero, because you're traumatised by it. So it's not quite so easy. Anyway, let's go back into attachment. So you can if you wanted to boost an attachment, or you want to add an attachment to your car, you could always put a sonic crystal in your glove box, or something in your car would help. You could have a charm. Some people have things on their dashboard, and that's trying to channel some positive energy. I mean, you can do things like meditate, or if you pray, or whatever within your car. That will give a kind of the energy released from that vibe will have some attachment to the vehicle. It's just the way it is. It's like if someone's an aggressive driver, they might be charging it, or if they change character as well. That's another thing. If someone's changed character for some reason when they drive, it seems like a possession of some kind, or the car's had an influence. So maybe it's a demonic influence over the driver, because you shouldn't drive a car and feel stressed out and fired up and aggressive. You should feel relaxed. It should be pleasurable. So, and that's the main thing. And then cars with names. Some people put names to them or not. The other car I had, I used to give it sort of a multiple names, but I wasn't really into the whole name thing. Someone said, oh yeah, you've got to give it a name. I mean, I called it loosely Megan, but I thought I didn't refer to it as that. And Then it got this name Priscilla. Somebody pushed for a name. I thought, what kind of an exotic name could I think of? This car is called Clarissa, actually. It seems to be a sort of name that's always there. I was thinking, should it be called Scarlet? It's red or something. But no, it seems to be the name that he likes or feel associated with the car. And there's a kind of energy you feel about vehicles as well. So maybe the former owner, because this one's is second hand, but it didn't have much usage, has got left some kind of residue there of energy, or her entity, her basically entities attached to that person connected to this vehicle. I can kind of sense my old vehicle, but that might be because it's got some of my energy invested in it, and that's because I was just in it, using it, and enjoying the vehicle. And I could see it's probably going to be, at some point, whatever's left of it is going to be crushed up. The rusty bits are, all the other good bits, it might be recycled to other vehicles, so therefore it lives on in some other form, really. And also the entity at the moment, if there's any entity attachment, he's probably in a scrap yard, so he can move around his other vehicles or do other things. So it's not a bad really thing. It's just one of them sorts of it's one of these types of things that isn't really well known about, kind of that magical side of things, and sort of why are certain entities in our lives doing stuff. Some of them are observing, some of them are just hanging around, some of them are waiting for the next train. They're just waiting for the sort of shift in the dimensions, and then they can travel across. Because it's like lining up the veils, so they might only travel so far, so it's acts as a pit stop, or remember they're refueling, or it could be that they need to change their frequency to get through a barrier, a dimensional barrier. And some entities, like the poltergeist, are trying to manifest a more physical presence within a place that they kind of only semi-exist in our kind of dimensional frequency. I mean, if you've got an issue with poltergeists, it could be that you need more light in your property. So you put things like mirrors, but firmly stick them to the walls, and then you project more light into it. Or either use them as doorways somewhere else, or it'll just bring in more positive energy because it'll be reflecting the sun's rays. And it just weaken the entity's strength, basically. Well, why it's daylight, by the time it's night time, it's a different story. So yeah. I can't think of anything else. It's bloody cars, all mad. And so I'm trying to think of anything else that we kind of would attach things to. There's things you wear as well. But I think the main thing is that you put things in your life that bring you positive an outcome. You wouldn't want to have anything that's going to cause you sort of negative influences. And if you do pick it up, it's like the feng shui, you're just applying it into vehicles or other living spaces, basically. And then looking at also energy attachments to things. And you can give things blessings as well. They don't have to, be sort of trapped in a certain energy cycle. You can always release the energy within it. Sometimes you warm it up or you put it in a place. There you go. You can release that energy. Ooh. Definitely off there. Right, anyway, it's Pixie signing off, and speak to you soon.